Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. All right, so thanks everyone for joining for this webinar number 4 with our partner Keysight today. My name is Damien. I'm the sales director of the SixSq business unit at Equinox, and we have as well today our partners from Keysight. So we have Vincent Rouault, who is the sales manager of the French team, and we have Gustavo, who is the sales engineer at Keysight. Sebastien will run the sales engineering part on the SixSq side, so with the demo that they have been preparing for you guys. So quickly, a short agenda. So I will make a focus on SixSq with an Equinox company, and then we will deliver a presentation of the Keysight solution for 10 minutes, and then a demo that the team has been preparing to show this active monitoring solution between 2 sites, or multiple actually. So first of all, let me put the context of the edge computing and the SD-WAN. Because the Keysight solution can bring a lot of value on the different Equinox solution, and we picked the SD-WAN use case because it's quite interesting. Because the SD-WAN is about implementing a software-defined WAN, so a network that is dynamic and that is there to provide the best user experience to the users. I mean, to the employees. So these employees are going through many different networks to access to the information on the application. So it can be over a traditional WAN network with MPLS connection, fiber connection. It can be 4G, 5G edge. It can be as well service provider, satellite providers. It can be internet service providers. It can be LAN or extended LAN. It can be fiber. So there is so many support that a network can be connected to provide the data and the information to the users. And this data can be accessed from anywhere and can be hosted in private data centers, in cloud providers, in internet, and can be hosted as well on the LAN side of the site, which is the edge computing part. It can be hosted as well somewhere in the middle on the service provider POP to host the data in different places. And the enterprise needs to make sure that these users will access this different information with the best possible solution. And the best place to route this traffic from the users towards the right direction and with the best performance is on the CPE side. So the router that is hosted close to the customer is the best place to take the decision of routing the flows on the right path, on the right direction to get the best possible experience. Okay. And so this network solution, this CPE, this router, needs to do a lot of different things. It needs to provide first a good routing experience. So it needs to be able to drive the packets to the right direction with the right security features. It needs to be able to embed business application to provide some of the business application very close to the user. It needs to provide cybersecurity features to be able to filter, firewall what has to be firewalled or detect some intrusion without the less, manual work as possible. So the automation and the integration is very important because you don't want to do many manual things. So this is the concept of SD-WAN, software-defined WAN. So it's automated. The routing is taking choice of direction based on the network performance. And I will finish by the top right. It needs to be cost effective because if it's cost more than the traditional implementation of networks, it's not very interesting. It needs to be hosted on the cloud and managed from there, and being able to scale to thousands of devices and maximize the network throughput to get the best throughput and experience to the users. And last but not least, it's important that this solution provides feedback to the administration team to make sure that the flows have the right performance and have been going through the right network. If there is any issue, is to provide the troubleshooting features, the analysis to detect the issues and investigate, and provide as well the ability to measure the ROI of such implementation. And this is what we will be focused on today. So, and why do we talk about all of that? Is because Equinox is a hardware manufacturer and software producer that is based out of France and provides solutions across the world. And we do manufacture our own devices that are very, very, very cost effective and powerful, with different size, with antennas, 5G antennas, Wi-Fi antennas, many LAN ports, small ruggedized devices. But we can as well work with partners like Dell, like HP, Advantech, and others to provide their own hardwares to support the different solutions that are on top. So on top of that, we do install the One OS 6, which is the Equinox software, the operating system that is able to host physical or virtual services such as switching, routing, the firewalling that we were mentioning before, SBCs for managing phone calls, SD-WAN features that were part of this discussion just before, virtualization like VNF and so, and as well the Nuvla Edge, which is the edge computing part. Okay, so the VNF are there to provide additional advanced features like VM solutions if you need to do some specific SD-WAN features or specific firewall features that are not in the solution on the Equinox solution. Okay, so last but not least, again, is the Nuvla IO platform, which is the edge computing marketplace. So this is what came on top of the solution to provide any containerized application that would be useful for the business. So it could be energy solution. We have seen that during the last webinar. It can be computer vision solution. It can be monitoring solution, and this is what we'll be focusing today. So this marketplace has many different applications. In that, you can host your own application as well, and you can go in there and select the application you need, deploy it on the edge devices, and you will only pay for what you are consuming. So this is deployed by the users or by the service provider themselves to have this application on the remote devices, which can be routers, it can be servers, it can be anything you need. These devices will connect to the local equipments to measure information. It could be connected to the LAN to do the active monitoring. It could be connected to satellite connection. It could be connected to cameras and so on. So, okay, so all of that is very secure. It is scalable because you can host many applications with no limits and devices, and you can create user rights accesses to define who has access to what, and it can be hosted again on any kind of devices that have IRM or x86 processor. So, and what is this edge computing solution? It's a very large edge computing marketplace that can cover many different use cases around AI, about energy-driven solution, about 5G solution, IoT, computer visions. It can be monitoring, network security, and so on. And Keysight is a very nice partner we are working with, and they have a huge set of applications that are very interesting, that can be used on the 5G part, on the AI, on the IoT and security network. Today, we will focus on one of these very nice applications, which is the Hawkeye solution, which is a container application that we use for all the active monitoring. But the Keysight team will be the best people to talk about their solution that is in the marketplace. So that being said, I will give the ball to Vincent. So Vincent, you can share your screen and present the solution to everybody.
Thank you, Damien. Hello, everyone. So hopefully you see the slide.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So yeah, just a quick intro on Keysight and where do we come from, and also, of course, focus on specifically on the active testing as you mentioned, and then we will end with the demo with Sebastien and Gustavo. So just who is Keysight? In fact, Keysight is a name, but the activity is very old because it started in 1939. So it was the initial activity of HP. So in between, it went through Agilent, and we started the name Keysight in like 10 years ago, roughly. And then Keysight expanded its portfolio with several acquisitions, and specifically with Ixia acquisition, which is the one we are part of. We are part of with Gustavo, and focusing on test, visibility, and security as well. So really, the goal is to provide, as soon as the design architecture of a solution is made, tooling capabilities very early on in a pre-deployment phase, and down the line, once it's deployed within the network and operated, then provide capabilities to troubleshoot, to monitor as well in the visibility environment. So, and the common theme is the security itself as well. So we focus today on one of our many products, many solutions, and which is OK, which is active test monitoring for network and services. And what are the customers asking for really in this context? They are really worried about anything dealing the SLA. What are they really having in terms of service from their providers, and how they can really understand, and qualify what is the SLA itself and check. This is a common, request we have from the very, very starting point when you buy a new service from for instance, a service provider. Then a second point is regarding anything dealing with services or network outages, or what happens if there is an issue and how I can solve it as quickly as possible. And specifically when you have voice, video, and unified communication services. That's more and more critical for most of the customers. And then a key point is the customer experience, the end user experience itself, because it's quite difficult for an IT department to understand what the customer experience means when they got a ticket where the end user is complaining about it's not working. What does mean not working itself? So how can I have a good understanding of what it means for the end user, and when I will provide a fix or a change, how it's addressing the initial problem. So we're going to help in all these areas. So basically, the active monitoring is a good toolbox for addressing all these three challenges, in fact, and environment and domain. So, and you can that all into the same environment and same platform. So we touch the end user, we touch the infrastructure, and we touch also the application services availability as well. So how is it organized? How is it really structured? In fact, basically, there is a central point, which is the controller itself that is driving, orchestrating tests automatically and on a regular basis. And on the right side, you can see that you have multiple points where you can deploy agents or endpoints. It has to be very portable in various environments. And then you can drive these endpoints from the central console to be able to drive the test automatically and on a regular basis. And this is helping to understand the trend, understand also the issue, fault locate as well, where the problems are occurring, and document them, of course. So a first typical case we have, and this is addressing the infrastructure itself, is when the agent is running a test against another agent. And this gives a good sense of the segment contribution. So you can see in the middle, you have the data center itself. as an example. And you can run from, let's say, the SD1 is between the two, and you can run from the remote site to the data center, typical test that gives you metrics like packet loss, like latency, jitter, or throughput. And it gives you a good sense of what the network is delivering. And if you go further from the data center to the cloud provider, you can run exactly the same tests. And as you go from the end-to-end, from the remote site to the cloud provider, then you can understand the overall contribution. So with that, you can fault locate very quickly, issues if it's from the first segment or coming from the second segment. So that's a first level of use case of usage we can address with this kind of active testing solutions. And then the second point is more related to, let's say, the user experience itself, because this agent, this endpoint, is able to, not initiating a request, but not terminating it on another endpoint, but on real content, real service. So in that case, you get other kind of metrics like HTTP response time, download page, number of, first byte, last byte, for instance. So it gives a good sense of service availability. You can have also accessibility of Office 365 service like Teams, for instance. So all this gives you a good idea of what the customer is experiencing in terms of access. So these are the two main modes of the use of the toolbox, the OKAI solution. And then during the demo that will run just after, we're going to show how to deploy first an agent within an Equinox environment with the Nuvla platform. This is where everything comes into play because as you can see, it's very distributed. So you can have many agents to be installed. So Nuvla platform can help a lot in the deployment. And then we run some tests from one end to the other. The other end would be installed into a virtual environment. So that would be one case. And then another, in the demo, you will see also an access to a content itself. So you will see the real service activity. And then we're going to request the web page from SixSq.com. And so this is basically the short demo we're going to play. So with that, I will hand it over to Sebastien and Gustavo. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So let me briefly show you Nuvla.io and how to manage application and devices. And then I will show you a deployment of OKAI from Keysight and hand over to Gustavo to show you their dashboard and how to perform tests using the deployed agent. So what you can see here is our marketplace. So it's a mix of your own application and public application on published on Nuvla. I will briefly browse some of the application and then focus obviously on the Keysight one. So if I open it, you can see a description, an icon of the app. There's a link to the terms and condition of Keysight, and there's a Docker compose. In this case, very simple because everything is already Dockerized, very few variable to set during deployment. I will show you later on a deployment of this application. Now let me briefly show you the Edge page. So here I have an overview of the Edge devices linked to my account. So I can manage these devices, deploy application very easily to these devices. I also have, this is a list view. I also have a a geographical view on a map to locate and filter my device. Let me open this one, this OVP. I will deploy today the OK agent on this device. So a couple of information about the device, some bit of telemetry regarding CPU usage, memory, which container are running on it. We also have an historical version of this telemetry. And here I can see the deployment on the device. As you can see currently, no deployment at all. So let's deploy OK on it. So I just click deploy. I pick the right device. Here I can set some parameter. In this case, it's the endpoint's name. So it will be the name of my probe on the Keysight dashboard, and I have to pick a server. I have to accept the terms and condition, and I can click deploy. Now I'm on the deployment page of this application, and there's a progress bar at the top telling me how far we are with the app deployment. Okay, and it's already deployed. And as you can see here, I have a link to the Keysight dashboard. And if I click it, I'm on the Keysight dashboard, and I will hand over to Gustavo, which will comment way better this dashboard and the test you can perform with it.
Thank you. So let me just also share my screen here. Let's see. Okay. So basically, yeah, this is the dashboard of the demo of OK Manager, right? And here you can obviously filter, right? I mean, as you can see, we have different numbers of tests, right? Because we are using different filter criteria, right? So this is very classic filters that you may use, right? Like a different specific range of time, okay? And later in this dashboard, what you can also see is a number of information here, right? So you have like the different names of probes that here are mapped like with geographical names, right? But you can put the name you want, and different type of test types, right? And so you can see, and I'll show you a bit, we can drill down, right? We can enter and see the details of the test. Okay, so basically the main colors are green and red. Okay, so as you may imagine, green means test has passed, right? And red is that there was failure on the test. Okay, and I'll try also to explain what does it mean pass and fail. Okay, some of the tests are black here, error, right? Because maybe for whatever reason, right? And there are a number of reasons the test was not able to be executed, right? So we are waiting a bit for the endpoint to be initialized, right? And will be automatically appearing here. Okay. In the meantime, what I'd like to show you is a bit some of the examples, right, of a type of metrics you may measure here. So if I'm, for instance, selecting a type of test, okay, let's say, for instance, here, network API bidirectional, right? That this is probably one of the tests, the basic test you want to do first, right, with the NSD1 network, okay, to understand how it's behaving on this different quality of services traffic, right? So you can zoom in, and here I have like tests between different probes, okay, that we deployed already, okay. So there are names. So I can, for instance, have a look. Okay, let's have a look at this one, right? So the traffic from this probe Allegro to this probe Chicago, okay, that was running here, and we execute it through some time. So here we can visualize, okay, different metrics that this test, in particularly network API, is measuring, right? And you can see how these metrics are evolving through time, right? So this is a test that is running periodically, okay, because this is the way that was configured here, right? And if I can, for instance, select the jitter, right? So I can have information about how the jitter was moving, right? So I can see what is the actual value, the blue ones, and the red one here you can see is the threshold, right? So basically what we are doing is we are measuring, okay, so we are taking pictures every time that the test is executing, right? So we're measuring here in this particular metric jitter, okay, And we are comparing the value against a threshold, okay? That is the one, this line here in dotted red, okay? This line basically will allow us to tell, okay, so I have a measure and this test has been passed or failed, right? And depending of the metric value, right? So for instance, here we're expecting, right, for this one, and we'll see if you want a bit later. Okay, we are measuring the jitter and we're expecting lower value than 30 milliseconds, right? So if for whatever reason was higher, right, the test will be failing. Here you see that all the tests here are, for this particular metric, are good, right, are green, okay? So this is something that is telling you that, okay? And how we are measuring, how we are computing this metric can be a metric that we provided you by default, okay? Can also be a metric that you can decide by your experience, or you can tell also the system to learn it, okay? So we have machine learning algorithms that will tell you what is the baseline, right? And from the baseline will only, if you want, be informed about the deviation from the baseline, right? The spikes, the violations of the baseline, okay? So there's a number of things you can do with that, right? You see here maybe a different metric, and you go, for instance, here, right? You'll see that there are a few violations of that, right? So this one you see, so spikes, right, that are changing the threshold values, right? And these ones are things that maybe you want to be reported, right? So all the tool, I mean, we don't have obviously time today to see all the capabilities, right? But there's a lot of functions that you can enable, right, to be informed only of the metrics that you are interested in, right? Okay, so this is an example of metrics, right? You can do, okay? And if you want also, and with that later we'll go through the prop that was created before. So now what I'm doing is I'm zooming a bit more, okay? So I'm just gonna be able to select a picture, right? So we have the film before, right? Now we have pictures, right? So as you can see, every 5 minutes here, I'm taking like a new picture, right? So if I'm selecting a particular picture here, okay? So you'll see that I'm measuring all these values, okay? And I'm comparing them against these thresholds, right? So, and with these values, I can decide if the test has been passed or failed, right? So this one, as you can see, that's satisfying all the conditions here. Let me select, for instance, something that is red, okay? Just to compare a bit, okay? So this one, you see, that's a lot of things here in green, right? But there's a few values here, like delay, for instance, and delay variation that are out of the threshold, right? So I have a higher value than what was the threshold here, right? So this is red, is failing, right? So this is the information that if I have a metric here that is failing, the test will be failed, right? And I can later inform the operator, right, of this tool to do some analysis, right? Why it's failing that, right? And you can correlate also this information with maybe other metrics, right? So you have delay here, but maybe there's also some impact on the MOS, right? Probably. So and depending a bit how you are doing the measurements, right? You may be able to troubleshoot and to identify the root cause in a faster way or not, right? So this is one of the things we can do, okay? So let me, this gives you an idea of between two probes, okay? So we have deployed a probe from Nufla, okay? So let's have a look here, okay? Let me just filter here because I have a lot of probes, right? So let me just filter on the ones that I'm interested in, that we call it like this.
Gustavo, we are arriving to the end of the webinar.
Yeah.
If you can maybe show what you think is very important within the next couple of minutes, and we just,
a couple of minutes. So we deployed this one, if you remember this webinar. Okay, so this is the probe that we deployed, and it has automatically registered here, okay, in the system. So what I'm gonna do with this probe, okay, is I'm gonna use it, okay, and we are gonna create a test, okay, so you can see how simple is that, okay. So I'm gonna create here a test use called real service. So basically it's a test that I'm going to run here path discovery, okay. So I want to identify the path between this probe, okay, that we call test webinar, okay? And I'm gonna put here a destination server, right? That I have here is SixSq.com, like this, okay? So I'm gonna try to reach this page, right? So I'm doing this, I can run this periodically, or I can just run one shot, right? And here you have the the values. You can have additional things if you want to change, okay? But you can run it like this, okay? So I'm just gonna run it like this. So the test is gonna be queued here, okay? As you can see, and it will be running, okay? So once is the system will manage for you the possible conflicts, right? If you have multiple tests at the same time, right? So it's something that automatically is done by the system, okay? And we'll run that for you, okay? So now if I'm going back to the dashboard, okay, well, tests are running, as you can see here, okay? So it was running for 30 seconds. That was the default value, okay? So this test will appear here, right, in the dashboards, okay? What we can do, for instance, here, okay? So let me select maybe, for instance, now path discovery, right? So this is a different view for the path discovery test, okay? So let's select, for instance, today, okay? And here we can select, for instance, I want test webinar, okay? So this is what we have just run right now, okay? So as you can see, this is the prop, and this is reaching the web page, right? And you can have information here about different paths that may transit, right? About information about the frequency that each taking each of the paths, right? Also, if we are losing packets, will tell you here, okay? Those we are not losing in this particular case. But also, what is interesting is if for whatever reason here the routers are changing the QS values, right, of the IP packets, right, you can be also informed about that, right? So here, as you can see, there's no changes, right? And there's additional information, right, that might be useful, like the autonomous system, so you have an idea from which places we are going through, right? Okay, so that's interesting also to understand, right? So this is just a little example, okay? We don't have the time today to do more and dive in, but I hope can give you some ideas of the flexibility that this tool can bring you, right, to troubleshoot and analyze SD1 scenarios, right? But not only.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Gustavo. I know it's a difficult exercise to make it super short. There's so many things to show.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So don't hesitate to get anyone. Don't hesitate to get back to us if you have any question. I had some question from the team that I will forward you after that. Thanks a lot to the Keysight team, Vincent and Gustavo, for the presentation and demo, and as well to Sebastien, as always. Yeah. So I wish you all a very good Friday and a good weekend. And don't hesitate to reach out to us for any demo or testing or question that you have regarding the solution. Again, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.